Hey, from the TCO Performance Center studios, these beautiful TCO studios, this is Vikings Game Plan, and I'm Paul Allen. Into the first regular season game, it's Border Battle 120 week. We have Ron Johnson from Fox 9's Vikings Game Day Live. Pete Bercich, analyst for the Vikings Radio Network, he's also here. And we begin, Ron, with no fans at US Bank Stadium for Border Battle 120. How do you think that will impact the game?
I think it's going to impact the game on the defensive side of the ball, meaning the defense is going to have a little bit of an advantage being able to hear the calls. The Packers offense is going to be fine. I think the Vikings offense will be fine. The Vikings defense will suffer a little bit because they're not going to have that on third down to get into Aaron Rodgers' ear, to get them rattled, to get the fans hyped. I think that's the issue. Offensively, though, receivers do like getting hyped with the crowd when they make a big catch or if it's a touchdown. So it's going to be a little bit different for them having to create their own energy. I think that's going to be the key. How can you create your own energy during the game?
And Peter, with the way Mike Zimmer operates his defense, a lot of it is predicated on deception and trickery. Will having no fans for this game impact the deception?
Well, I think it won't necessarily on where the guys line up in the field and how you want to show one coverage and play another. And to Ron's point, defenses are used to not being able to communicate verbally. They have hand signals. They have all these other things built in because of the crowd noise. So defenses are now going to be able to talk more. Now, will coaches be able to allow them to use the verbals instead of the hand signals and all those things? We'll see. Ultimately, I think it's an advantage to the offense, but I think the defense is going to find a couple of ways to maybe capitalize on it. And I agree with Ron 100%. You've got so many guys that haven't played in the NFL, have no idea the speed of the game, and it's going to be dead quiet in there. How are they going to respond? That's a huge, huge question mark.
And Ron, you touched on that offense a little bit. Outside of no fans at US Bank Stadium, sadly for this first game, the Vikings offense and continuity with Gary Kubiak leading the way. You have Cousins, Cook, Madison, Thielen, Rudolph, Smith, on and on. This Vikings offense should be really good this year.
Yeah, it should be good. And when you look at like you said, continuity. But what I looked at is the home versus the road. The one thing about Kirk Cousins is he's a gamer. But at home, everybody should be excited. He had a 116.4 passer rating last year at home. On the road, though, wasn't bad either, 101.2. So he just overall had a decent season, a top 5 season in a lot of categories. But for this offense, you got Irv Smith going into his second year. I expect him to do a lot more. You got a guy by the name of Bercich Johnson who had a really good year last year in times when Adam Thielen was hurt. And so now you add Justin Jefferson. That's what everybody wants to know. How long is it going to take him to get going? We remember Stephon Diggs' rookie year. It took him a while to kind of get on the field and get going. How quick can Justin Jefferson pick up this offense? How quick can he understand that the game speed is a lot different? And can he get on the same page with Kirk Cousins, where Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen have that? We already know what Dalvin Cook's going to do. So I think this offense is going to do just fine.
Now, earlier in the week, I had the opportunity to interview Vikings coach Mike Zimmer. It's a radio show we have weekly on KFAN called X's and O's. Back to the defense for a second. We talked about all of the familiar names that are gone, and I'm like, Mike, how are the new guys doing?
I think the biggest thing, Paul, with the new guys, they're just really hungry to learn. It's like going back to step one with a lot of the players when we first got here. They're very eager to learn. They're very receptive to coaching. Not that the guys we had weren't, but you just get to go back to the basics. And I think there'll be some new energy. We'll find out if they can play against somebody else right now.
Once again, that's from the radio show X's and O's weekly on KFAN and the Vikings Radio Network. Pete, one of those new guys is corner Cameron Dantzler. He gets Aaron Rodgers in his debut. Do you think he's nervous?
Absolutely. I mean, anybody would be nervous. It's your first NFL game, and then you're playing against perhaps the best quarterback in the NFL. So, yeah, it's going to be that way. And then you're also going up against a guy named Davante Adams, who's a pretty good receiver in his own right. But you can't concentrate on those things. What you have to do is concentrate on your technique and concentrate on your awareness, what the other team is trying to do, what kind of routes are they trying to run. Keep things as simple as possible, because we do know Dantzler is a good athlete. He's tall, he's long. Let him use those properties, those things to put himself in the best position. And oh, by the way, he needs to go over to talk to Yannick Ngakoue and say, you, my man, are going to help me out by not letting Rodgers sit in that pocket for 4 or 5 seconds.